So my name is Omoyele Sowore. I'm a publisher of Sahara Reporters, and recently a presidential candidate of the African Action Congress. So I ran in this last election.
Okay, sorry, on the scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate press freedom in Nigeria? And okay, if you have any negative thinking about it, what are the ways, what solutions will you discuss?
So my own submission is that the press will continue to be under attack as long as they're doing their job. But what's made press freedom to be under even more furious attack now is that there are several ways to violate the freedom of the press. There are both direct, subtle, not subtle ways of doing it. So as a result, I don't rate Nigeria very high because it's very dangerous to practice journalism in Nigeria. You know, as recently as 2-3 years ago, soldiers were still raiding newspaper houses because of headlines that came out in newspapers challenging the authority that they didn't like. So we've heard or seen cases of journalists being jailed. Even some of them were sent to prison. When I say journalists, I'm using a general term now. Sent to prison for challenging constituted authorities in Nigeria. So that means that the atmosphere of press freedom in Nigeria is not very suitable. So my rating is very, very low, we're closer to 3.
So what do you think is the solution?
Oh, the solution is for the media also to take back its rightful position. Freedom is never given. It has to be taken, and you have to exercise your freedom so that, you know, and be vigilant about it, so that, you know, you can have it. No government official will give you freedom. It's not done. It's not even done in the so-called advanced countries where even press freedom is under attack from presidents of nations. You know what happened in Turkey, where journalists was physically captured and dismembered by very powerful people. So you cannot believe that in this age and time, media or media practitioner will be subjected to that kind of horrific crime sponsored by the state. So the solution is for people to stand up and bond together organically and resist all forms of oppression, whether they are happening locally, internationally, whether they are happening directly or they are happening digitally. Because press freedom is also under a lot of digital attack now. And also to look at press freedom from the point of misinformation and disinformation, which are new ways that governments have now started using to discredit even media practitioners, because even the process of discrediting and scaring media practitioners is in a way a violation of press freedom, and that has become the new age way of now attacking the press, free press.
Just completed general election. Did you say the press? Did you say they are fair in their coverage?
If they were fair, they would have been able to find out the election wasn't fair. The press would have been on that case in digging out where and providing evidence to the public as to how the election was rigged. We are not hearing much of that. You know, we're just hearing coverage of peripheral stories of who went to court. But it's disappointing in the midst of this whole very, very disappointing election that the most prominent stories after the election was the citizenship of one of the candidates, whether it's a Nigerian or a Cameroonian. You know, that tells you there's something wrong with you know, the kind of content the media is putting out there. So I rate the press also very low in the coverage of the election.
Okay, let's even delve into the ethics of journalism, especially the aspect of the remuneration, and also taking care of the press so that they will stop collecting the brown envelope. What's your take on that?
I don't think taking care of the press will make them stop collecting brown envelope. Some of the brown envelope collectors are not even poor pressmen. They are not the ordinary street vendors, you know, that you like to call. You know, they are the big editors. They are sitting back, you know, and making phone calls and getting alerts, you know, from politicians. So I'm not saying that, you know, the regular media people are not doing it, but the biggest culprits are not, you know, the kind of hungry press on the street. But I totally support a situation where, you know, the media is properly remunerated, their salaries are paid on time, and when salaries are not paid, they get the kind of protection that they get in places like South Africa, where if you don't pay salary for a year, your business will be closed down. I mean, for a month, and there's some form of insurance for media. In South Africa, I think if you're a foreigner, you come to South Africa to set up a business, you have to deposit in advance about 6 months salary, so that if you go down, they can keep paying them until they have another job. But most importantly, the society is in need of social security in a way that, when people don't have jobs, you can provide them unemployment benefits until they find another job. So beyond just employers paying their staff, we need a government that is alive and responsive to citizens to the extent that it doesn't matter where you work. When you lose your job, you can get support until you find another job.
So 29th May is around the corner, and I know there are a lot of things that hinders the nation building. So which area do you actually want those that will take over to focus more on if they must try?
We have to get the president to come back first, to come and take over. He left, and we don't know when he will be coming back. This Sunday, information featuring to us shows he may not come back.
But whether he's around or not, the nation must go on.
So nations cannot go on. No. This is
like
why
what Condoleezza Rice said, that the presidency is more important than the president.
Don't be confused with what Condoleezza Rice is saying and what we have. We have a problem on our hands. If you vote for somebody and he's sick and he doesn't take over on the day of swearing in, we have a problem on our hands.
Okay, let's just wait on a normal condition when he's around. Which area of focus is around?
Well,
yes.
Let's assume he's around. I've said it to Nigerians that the current position of things in the country, whichever way you look at it, is not going to be able to sustain this country and these people for a long time. So people should be preparing for alternatives. I've been an advocate of, having a revolution in this country.
Position, like what? And alternative, like I wanted to give.
I just gave you an alternative. People should prepare for a revolution. This country is not going to work the way it is right now. It is not working, and it will not work. The current operators of the system have no capacity to run a country as big as this. They have no capacity to be fair and just. They have no capacity to secure the nation. When you talk about security, it's not just physical security. Finding a job is job security. Have been able to get proper treatment when you go to the hospital is some form of health and social security. Getting paid after you work is some form of security too. So, and in the absence of all of this working together, nobody is safe in this country, and that's why I don't want to keep deceiving people by saying that, maybe these people will change their minds or they change their ways of doing things and you should expect something to change. It's not possible. This is the way they've been behaving since we know them, and some of them have been around for close to 60 years, and they are not going to change until we change things. Look, they just did it in Algeria, they just did it in Sudan, and it happened in Ethiopia, some form of revolution. And I know when you say revolution, people are like scared. We don't want bloodshed, but bloodshed is happening every day in Zamfara. People are getting kidnapped in every nook and cranny. They are kidnapping for any amount of money. They will kidnap these days for recharge cards in Nigeria. So don't deceive yourself. I don't want to be part of people who are telling you something different from what I believe. What I believe is that until we stand up in this country, you, me, young people, old people, and say enough is enough, this country will continue to be in a state of arrested development,
Okay, finally on my own angle, there's what is it, Mrs. Montura, what's her name? Okay, that even we don't really know why President travels, and we don't know what he goes out for.
I know.
So people are craving for information.
I know.
And with the influence of social media these days, how can we actually cover fake news and the rest?
It's not fake news. What is fake news is that the president tells us that he has gone on a private visit when he went on a public visit, and he has gone to take care of his health. There's nothing private in a visit. If you took with you your bodyguards, you took the presidential jet with you, you are going to be getting paid, you have assistants with you. It's different if you just say, look, I'm handing over, I'm disappearing, I'm traveling only with my wife and children, then that's a private visit. But when you are traveling with the retinue of your bodyguard supporters, the state is paying for you to stay there, You know, you are not. It's not a private visit. Don't say you don't know. What has happened is that the press has not challenged the president enough to say, wait a minute, sir, until we know what is wrong with you, we are not having any other conversation.
Okay, aside
And we have a right to know what is wrong. He must disclose publicly. Every day, not every day, but once a year, the US president goes for medical checkup. Before they leave the doctor's office, it's already in the public domain. What is wrong with us? Why can't our president tell us? And we are the ones paying for the treatment. We have a right to know whether it's jeji, you know, or it has headache, or ear infection, or you know, something has failed inside of him. There's nothing wrong with that.
They should always feed the public
They,
so that
they have a right to know, because we are the ones responsible for the upkeep of the president and his family members and members of his cabal that are not disclosing information to us. We have a duty to know, but we will not get any of these answers except we stand up and say enough is enough. This nonsense must stop in Nigeria. There's no need pampering, you know, and when the president comes by, maybe he'll tell us, and then somebody will go and put a signboard on the way to the airport, welcome Mr. President. All that rubbish must stop. And Nigerians must look at other places and around the world where people are rejecting rubbish, and reject the rubbish that is going on here. This is not sustainable. And I'm telling you, we cannot continue like this. This is not sustainable.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you.